Hi, everybody. I know it's hot. Uh, Go Bisons, and I'll try to make this as exciting as possible. The reason why we are doing this event, one, is to bring everybody together. I haven't seen some of you in a long time, and some of you have been clients and partners for many, many years. Good to see all of you. And some are not clients yet, so welcome. Having said that, we get a lot of questions on AI. What is it? How can I use it? How am I gonna be able to roll it out? Is it just basically Chat GPT where I can go in and ask it questions and it gives me answers? Is that what it is? How can it, everybody's talking about this technology that's gonna change the world, and how is businesses gonna use it? And what to worry about. So that's what we're gonna talk about, is a quick, easy type of, let's understand what we have to work with and what options we got as much as possible. So without further ado, what is AI really? You know, it's artificial intelligence, but just to let you know that it's really not very intelligent. It requires a lot of training. So how was it created and what was it? The meaning is AI refers to simulation of a human brain. The way humans think is the way the software is built to think. So how did they do that, and what's the idea behind it? Is that the way they wrote it and how it works is that engineers basically downloaded the entire internet. Every single file, every single picture, everything that they had, it's all been downloaded. And once they downloaded it, they assigned a number for every word. And then uploaded it to the system, a neural network, which is basically a whole bunch of processors talking to each other that simulates a brain. And the reason they did that is that way AI knows and looks at patterns. So if you ask a question, that question has probably been asked by 100 other people. And it goes out there and says, hey, that question that you asked were answered that way before. So it looks at patterns and it answers through patterns. That's basically how it works. So it's not smart, but it looks at patterns, but it also learns and self-corrects. So engineers had asked it questions, the questions would be answered wrong because it didn't understand it exactly. Engineers gave it more instructions, and that's how it kind of works. It learns as time goes by. That's why AI continuously becomes smarter. I'm explaining it just so that people in general understand what AI is. It's just another application. It's just another piece of software. But that piece of software just does what you tell it to do without a lot of programming or any, really. So that application, that piece of software also has an API, an application protocol interface, to link to other applications so that it could work together. So let's not overcomplicate it. I'll try to simplify it. It's just another application that a business can use. And now, having said that, here are some facts. ChatGPT 3.5 took an IQ test and it got 155. Einstein was 160. That's 3.5, by the way, which a version that hasn't been used for a year now. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. ChatGPT 4 became 10 times smarter than ChatGPT 3.5 without much to do. And if this keeps pace, AI could reach an IQ of 1600. I always thought IQs ended at 200, but it will continue to evolve. It takes just a lot of power because it's a lot of processors working all together. Imagine if all our brains were all interlinked and we could all think at the same time. As soon as you came up with an idea, you knew about it, and vice versa. So that's how AI kind of works. Sounds good from a very high level, but how are you going to use it in business, really? I wanted to explain the players in AI. So if you look at this on the slide, the owner, I have all different types of owners that own different AIs and what the tools are and what their models that they use. So Microsoft, their AI is called Copilot, but they actually use ChatGPT as their engine. So OpenAI is ChatGPT, and they use ChatGPT as their engine. Google used to have an AI called Bard. Nobody used it. They renamed it Gemini. It's the same thing. Now more people use it. And the Gemini and Gemini Advanced is the engine behind it. Meta has Meta.ai, but really Meta, their big claim to fame, which is Facebook is their large language model, that engine. They want to build an engine so people can build their own tools on top of it. Again, it's just one application. And then Claude is very specific to programmers. So Claude is a programming AI. So that AI got taught how to program, and when it makes a mistake, they fixed it, and eventually it's trained enough to be one of the best programmers you could hire. And that's the idea here. So how are we going to use it in business? Well, a lot of different companies are coming up. New companies are using AIs that already exist, and they're training it to do specific functions. A sales.ai, where it can answer a phone call, get information, link to your Outlook, and schedule an appointment for you. How about a sales AI that will make cold calls for you? Or how about a help desk AI? Or an HR AI that will answer HR questions? There is a lot of different companies popping up that take an existing large language model and train it. And this is the top 100 AI companies out there. I put a large screen, but it does all kinds of different things, from commerce to cybersecurity to robotics. So that's what's happening, is that it's just another application that now has been trained to do specific functions, so businesses can use those functions and to get things done. So think of it this way. If you have an agent, this is my AI prediction here. If you guys have an agent that you can create, back in the day, everybody was talking that, websites were a big thing. And then people were like, I don't know if I should get a website, or I'm not sure if I should get an email address. And here, I'm sure everybody has more than one email, and everybody has a website. So it became a standard. Same thing is happening with AI. I think everybody, and I do mean everybody, will end up having AI agents that help them do stuff on a regular basis. That's coming, I think, faster than people understand. And that's why we're doing this, so that I can show people how to create an agent now and get functions done in a business now. So having said that, think of it this way. It's about getting more done with less. It's going to be a disruptor. A lot of jobs may not exist anymore. That's reality. There's a Google executive that quit Google and just started a new development company. They do a software for the financial industry. And he was being interviewed, and he said, if I started this company 3 years ago, I would need 300 people to do what we're doing. He had 9 people, and all the rest were agents doing work automatically 24/7. So let me explain that. How are we going to use it as small, medium-sized companies? How are we going to use it? So let me explain that. So I'm going to talk about AI from a perspective of Microsoft and Copilot, because that's built in M365. I'm going to show some stuff here. So here's some ideas. What if you have a recruiting AI? So every time you receive an email from a potential employee and they have their resume in there, what if an AI grabs that email automatically, reads it, analyzes it, and gives you feedback? And if you get 100 resumes, they'll pick the top 10. And what if that AI is able to call and get references checked? What if that AI is doing all that work before you even get started? Email show up. I'm going to come back closer to this. Email shows up, and then as soon as you receive it, an action happens, and AI does action, and you train it. You tell it, I want you to do this, and I want you to understand that, and call these people back. How is that going to happen on a day-to-day? Think about your business. Think about everything that you do. Let's say you're in manufacturing and you're in engineering and you have a whole bunch of engineering documents. Well, what if you're able to upload that to AI and have it analyze it, and then anybody in your company can go ask it questions and it's going to give you answers based on the stuff that you actually do the way that you do it? It could be cool. I'm going to do this in real time, and I'm going to show you how it works. So these are just some examples of what AI can do. So everybody knows, your AI assistant for work. So if you ever use ChatGPT or Copilot, you can go in and ask it questions. That's the first calendar here, that kind of business chat. And if it's Copilot, then it has access to Microsoft 365, so it has access to Outlook and all your SharePoint data and all your documents, so it can go analyze that for you and find stuff for you and do stuff on your behalf. But what if that AI can be triggered to do stuff automatically without having to be told what to do? That's where AI is going to change the world in that section here, is when AI can take action. We tell it one time, and it takes action, move forward on things that happen in real time in a company. You receive an email, somebody created a document and saved it somewhere. AI can take this document, parse it for you, do stuff with it, and then give you answers. What if we could automate all of that and make it simpler for people to use? And that's the idea behind AI in general. That's the idea behind Copilot. And that's why when people ask me, how are we going to use it? Man, you could use it in so many different ways. What do you need? What does your company I'm sure you have admins that do certain work. I think every admin will require an AI agent at some point. So having said that, Copilot, which is the engine or the tool that Microsoft has embedded within M365, within Word, Excel, Outlook, and all that, that's the one-to-one ratio. So everybody that needs to use AI will need a Copilot license. But Copilot can allow you to create unlimited agents. So you could have an agent that do HR, an agent that do sales, an agent that do engineering, an agent that, how about if you get a contract and you want to make sure that the contract has no gotchas? You upload the contract to AI and say, let me know where my risks are. And it will analyze it for you and give you those answers. But everything that I'm talking about is an action that you took. The idea here is to have AI take action by itself, with setting it up once and have it be an employee, active, ready to go at any one time. And as soon as something comes in, it knows what to do and it takes action on your behalf. So having said that, the way you give AI prompts or instructions is through prompts. And this is called the Risen framework. This is something everybody needs to understand. So when I do create an agent, I'm going to do it in real time and show it to you. This is the type of prompts I put in. I first assign a role. So if I want the agent to be an HR agent, I'm going to say act as an HR professional. Somebody with a lot of experience, somebody that knows HR inside and out and knows all the laws for the state that we're in. I'm going to give it instructions, specific instruction on what to do. As a matter of fact, everything happens in instructions. So when you create an AI and you give it some instructions, the answer may not be exactly what you want. So you have to give it additional instructions and go and tweak in those instructions. That's where the work and training in AI happens, in the instruction section. Next time you get this answer or this question, don't answer it this way, answer it that way. Now all you have to do is tell it once. It's not a regular employee. It will remember for the next time. Employees may not always remember and they're new every day. You know how it is. But in reality, that's what it is. Then you got to give it steps on what to do. If you get triggered, if you get an email, it's a step. How about if an AI does something with an email and then gives it to another AI to do other things with it, analyze it. One enters the stuff in the system. The next AI will analyze it properly. The third AI will create a report against it. The fourth AI will send it to you. The idea is to send it from one agent to the other to the other. And then give it what the end goal is. This is what I want at the end. And then really narrow it down. Don't go out there and look at the World Wide Web. I want you to focus on the documents I'm giving you because we do it differently. And that's the idea here. So understanding the Risen framework and how to prompt AI. As a matter of fact, there's classes in universities now called prompting engineers. It's just how to talk to an AI properly. And it's really all English. Really, AI does understand that. So here's an example of a prompt. Act as a financial analyst, create executive-ready summaries for internal reporting. So I want you to generate a concise performance summary that will be included in a monthly financial dashboard. And that could be done once, and then I can trigger it that as soon as a financial report is done from the application and saved somewhere, AI will take it and do this stuff with it. So then here's the steps. Our Q2 data shows revenue of 5.5 million, up 8% from Q1, totaling 3.1 million. Net profit is at 22%. Key drivers increased sales volume. I want to please summarize this in a bullet style report that is clear and professional for the presentation to the CFO and executive team, and avoid speculation, just narrowing down. I don't want you to go think outside the box. I want you to think into what I'm giving you. So prompting is key. So there is 3 types of agents that we can create in AI. One is called the retrieval agent, which is what most people use AI for right now. You tell it to go retrieve information, analyze it for you, and break it down. You could upload your own files to it and say, analyze my files and answer questions on the files that I give you, but you have to prompt it for it to take action. So it's a manual work. You go to the AI, you ask it questions, it comes back with answers. You upload stuff to it, you ask it more questions about it, it'll give you answers. So if, let's say you're in manufacturing engineering, what if every knowledge base you ever had, every documents you ever created, all your top engineers take all their documents and upload it up to AI? Now anybody in the company can go ask it as if they're asking the actual engineer questions, and it will give it real answers. There's different capabilities that AI will be able to help businesses quite a bit. So I'm going to show some of that. The second type of agent is called a task-based agent. It's when something happened and the AI takes action against it. An email gets you receive an email in a specific folder with a word in it. I want AI to monitor everything that's coming, and as soon as the email comes, I want you to take action, whatever it may be. Answer all the questions in the emails. Attach any different documents. Attach my booking so that people can schedule an appointment with me, and I now manually don't have to go through every single thing and do all that work. And then the last agent, here's a couple examples of task-based agents. So let's say it's an executive dashboard summary, and I want it weekly. Well, I can tell it to pull matrix from the accounting system, highlight anomalies, generate a visual report, and suggested follow-up action. And that can happen automatically, and I can tell it, email it to me at the end of every week. So I set it up once, I told it what to do, and then every week now, I have an employee that does that work for me. Employee, an agent at the end of the day. That's why I believe every single user here, soon enough, will have many agents working for them, with them. So you can see how companies won't need as many people. But the people that are hired need to be smart and hardworking at the end of the day. The last agent is an autonomous agent. It's an agent that will get created and take action and link to different applications. Like it will link to your HubSpot or your NetDent or your different EMR systems or whatever it may be, and take actions on your behalf and analyze it and give you answers. So I'm going to show you an example. So let's create an agent. How about that? So I can, we can talk about it till we blue in the face, but until you see it in action, it's a little different. Okay. So this is Teams, right? You guys familiar with Teams? Everybody good? All right. Because I have a Copilot license, I have a Copilot side to Teams, and I can go in and tell it to get agents. And these are some agents that I've created. So as it loads, these are examples of agents I already have done. So I'm going to go to an HR agent here and explain it and show you how it works. So what I did here, and if you guys can see it right here, I give it instructions. I said, act as a human resource professional. Read the attached handbook and help answer questions. Provide accurate and helpful information based on the handbook. So I'm telling it, don't go out there. It's only based on the handbook that I uploaded. Maintain a professional and friendly tone. Avoid discussing sensitive information. Ensure responses are clear and concise. I can keep going and going. The more you give it, the better it will be. And then under knowledge, I went in and I uploaded our general HR questions, our manual, different, I called it norm, but different documents that we have around HR. Insurance, 401k info, all that is uploaded there. So now this is an HR agent that has access to all our data and is ready to answer questions and on our behalf. But you gotta be careful because, well, what if I'm asking questions on how much, Jeff makes? And I'm Jeff's peer. I shouldn't know. Would AI be able to give me that answer, even though I'm not allowed to get that data? And that's where security with AI, you have to be very careful about. You have to be very careful what kind of data you're going to give it, because what is it going to share that data with? Who's it going to share that data with? As a matter of fact, a lot of hackers hope you have AI and you didn't secure it properly enough, so that way they can log in and ask AI to go do the hacking on their behalf. At the end of the day, if you give it full access, it's going to do that. So let me give you an example here as you see how it's built. I'm going to go to the agent. Now this is how you configure it. I can share the agent with other people, but here you can see I can test the agent. So I'm going to say, how many vacations days do I get? And I'm going to ask it that question. It's going to go and process that info because it has access to all this data that I put up there. And it says, I wasn't able to find any document or policies because you're the CEO and you don't get times off. So it knew that, all right? And it didn't give me info I didn't need. So I can say, well, how many days off does an employee get? So now it's going to look, okay, you're not asking about yourself. I understand. Let me try to find that info in the documents that you uploaded. And then year 1, you get 12 days. Year 2 to 5, you get 17. Year 6 and beyond, 22 days. And that's how it goes. Now, I can upload a document there with people's information in it, and they can actually then be able to get their actual time off they have. This is just HR. I mean, think about engineering or law or medical. Microsoft's latest AI was able to fix, they uploaded 300 studies of very complicated medical issues. And they also give those 300 studies to doctors. And the doctors figured it out about 20% of the time. AI was 80% accurate. Huge difference. So doctors are using it now to help, not to diagnose, because really they want to be the end-all be-all, but to help. They upload your blood work to it. They upload your CT scan to it, and they say, what's wrong with this patient? And because everything out there was downloaded, AI is able to get that answer for them. Now this is the first agent. So this is not an automated agent. This is an agent that you have to go in and ask it questions about. So this is very simplistic. What do you guys think of that? Pretty cool, right? All right. All right, next is, I want to show you an automated agent and what that would look like. So bear with me. Okay, now I created that agent in Agent Builder. Microsoft has besides Agent Builder, they have something called Copilot Studio, a place where you can go in and create your own agents that are automated, right? So I created a couple. I'm going to show you a little examples here. So this is a sales reply agent. It's a simple agent. The idea is you have a website, you have a form on the website, people fill it out. They click send, it sends you an email. And they may say, I'm a manufacturing facility, I need help with IT, I need cybersecurity help, I want to be CMMC compliant, whatever it may be. So I told the AI agent that you're a salesperson. Here's the instruction now, and the instructions here are a lot more detailed, right? You're a sales professional. When a unique email comes into my inbox under AI folder, I want you to read it and take action on my behalf. So I told it what to do. If I scroll down a little bit, I also said create a reply based on your research, but do not send it because I want to evaluate it first. But you see how it's done? It's just done with English under instructions. And then if you test it and you don't like it, you go give it more instructions. The idea is that's all it is. I mean, that's not all it is, but that's basically what it is. The idea is that you don't need to know code to do it. And I uploaded all kinds of knowledge, all our collaterals, it is in SharePoint. So everything that AI uses have to be in SharePoint or in OneDrive. So I upload, and I also told it where our website is, and I said use our website as information that you could share with other people. All right, but do not go out to the World Wide Web and get information that I didn't give you. And then I said a trigger, and the trigger is here under triggers. It's when an email arrives in my mailbox. That's what I told it. When an email arrives in this folder, I want you to know it arrived, and I want you to take automatic action. And then I linked it to a tool, and the tool is my Outlook to send an email back out. So if I click on triggers, there's all types of different triggers that you can decide that you want it to work with. It could be a Teams message. It could be a Gmail account. It could be a OneNote document that gets created. It could be a Power BI thing that you have created. There's hundreds of triggers that AI could listen to, and as soon as that trigger happens, it will take action on your behalf. And that trigger will then use a tool, and if I go to tools here, and if I tell you there's hundreds of tools, there's actually thousands of tools. So if I even said I want to use a tool like HubSpot, because that's my CRM system, this is all the connectors that AI will have with HubSpot. It will show up in a second because there's a ton of them. You know, get security activities, update a form, send an email back, get login activities, whatever it may be. The idea is there's a trigger that gets triggered, that an event that happens, AI listens to it automatically and uses a tool to do the functions we want it to do. So this is where the development happens. This is where you go tell it how to automatically create an agent that will take action without having to manually go tell it every time. Remember, we created it once. Now it's waiting for a trigger, and it works all the time. Like once it's set up and you like the answers, you have an employee awake that is awake 24/7 that will take action on your behalf. Now, what kind of quality are you going to get out of an automated AI agent? That's where your data is important. That's why it's important to understand what it would look like. So as an example, I'm going to test this little trigger that I did. And I'm going to tell it to start testing. And it looked at an email that arrived. It's now reading all the sources that I told it what it is. It reads what's inside that email. And then the email says that I'm a managed IT, I'm asking about managed IT services offered by MVP Network Consulting, and this is what it wrote down. It basically responded to all the questions. There were specific questions in an email about managed IT, not about cybersecurity, for instance. It has specific questions, and it answered the questions based on the data that we have. And it's ready to send it, but I told it not to send it because I want to review everyone before I send it out. That's the idea here. The idea of creating agents that will do functions all the time, that will be available, and link it to different applications and how it works. I mean, I thought that was cool. But I'm a geek and a nerd. That's what I do. So I don't know if everybody thinks it's cool like I do, but it's very cool. Believe me. It goes through, give me all kinds of info. This is where where it got the sources from. It found some stuff in the presentation. It's found the stuff in a case study. It's found the stuff in our website. It lets me know how it got that detail. And this is the email it ended up producing for me. You know, here's a draft response based on the information retrieved. Information about our managed services. And thanks to you for reaching out to MVP. It even read a hello message and a goodbye message. And it could give you a link of maybe your booking or HubSpot so that somebody schedule a time with you without having to take action. So I thought having agents and all that is cool, but there are certain things that we got to worry about. Okay, the downside of AI is security. The downside of AI is, let's face it, we spent a lot of time working on security. That's why I knew I was a CEO. But really, at the end of the day, if you start fresh, it will give you anybody any answers you want. And the idea here is with compliance challenges with data privacy laws like HIPAA, like GDPR, like CMMC, there's a lot of things and data management that needs to happen first before I would say use it full force. Now, you could use it in analyzing some emails and asking it questions, but to have action and triggers happen right away, I'd be very careful. AI introduces vulnerabilities. AI has misuses. It will lie to you. It will do things because if you tell it to go to the World Wide Web, let's face it, there's a lot of crap on the web, and it will use that crap and tell you that's real. So you got to be careful. That's why narrowing it down through the Risen framework and telling it just to focus on the data that we have is important. So you won't believe this really happened. This is a true story. There is an AI coding tool, and it's called Replit. Remember, I said there's a lot of different companies out there coming up. So Replit is an AI coding tool that this company, SaaSTR.ai, was using to build a database and to build and train AI to do specific functions. Well, Replit made a mistake and deleted their main production database. But it didn't want to let everybody know it made a mistake. So it came up with 4,000 fake usernames and passwords and put it in the database, fake ones, and then lied about it and to cover its tracks so that you don't know it made a mistake. And after being questioned time and time again, it said, yeah, you're right, I did make a mistake. But it's too late, we can't fix it. And that wasn't real either. You could fix it. And there was a backup. But AI didn't want to take responsibility. So AI and security, you got to be really careful what you're going to give it. Is security set up properly in your environment? What can I say? It happens. But you got to make sure that when you test your security, you got to make sure that you understand which user have which rights and do they have access to the documents that they get before you let AI go crazy and you give everybody licenses, right? I want to make sure that if I get a license, I only have access to the data that I'm supposed to have access to. And so my license only have access to that. So that's about security and how important it is. You know, he said, now it gets a little crazier. Replit assured me that its built rollback did not support database rollback. It said it was impossible in this case, that it destroyed all database version. It turns out that it was wrong, and we rolled back and everything came back to life. Lucky for them. But AI lied to it, so it lies. There's another company, a 158-year-old company that got ransomware because somebody guessed their password. So security in general, not just for AI, but security in general, I can't even speak enough about that. But at the end of the day, make sure that your network is protected, the network is secure. And from this perspective, we look at how to secure AI agents in your organization. There's all different types of layers that we have to look at. So we look at data, because that's the most important thing that we're protecting. But every piece of data that you have is being produced by an application. AI being an application, or Word, Excel, Outlook, whatever it may be. That application, every single application you use is actually loaded on a computer. And that computer connected to a network. And that network has a perimeter. And then you have the World Wide Web, and at the end of the day, you have users that click on stuff they're not supposed to click using it. So having said that, these are all the different layers we have to protect against. Well, before you start AI or think about it, you should make sure that you clean up your house, that you're ready for what AI will bring. But it's very powerful because you could hire a lot of employees and it won't cost you much. If you train them properly, they'll do the job. Just make sure that you're secure. So having said that, there's really too much to lose. What we're offering is a free cybersecurity assessment. You guys can scan this if you'd like, or go to mvpworks.com/cyber. And what we're going to do is test your security for you before you start thinking about AI. What we're going to do is we're not going to ask you for any administrative credentials, because at the end of the day, a hacker doesn't ask you for your username and password. We're just going to send you a link, and we won't install anything on your network either, and we won't come to your environment. Hackers don't come to your environment. We're just going to send you an email. You're going to click on a link. I would recommend it send it to 5 key users so we can test the environment thoroughly. And then click on run and then continue working. And then we'll take that information and see, we simulate what a hacker would do and what AI would do in your environment. What kind of data are we going to be able to look at? Am I going to be able to jump from one computer to the other? Am I going to be able to get to your server and mine data? Do you have unencrypted information with social security numbers hanging out that people can take? Let's make sure your security is right before you start thinking about AI and actually have agents do work for you. The agent we're training now, we're training an agent to do some help desk investigation. So our techs can ask AI, what do you think I should do here? And they will read the ticket and the information and tell them, hey, did you try this? Did you try that? And work with it. But that takes practice and training and instructions. But we want to make sure security is set up right and set up first. And what else we're offering is time with myself or one of our executives to come and sit with you and really talk about how to use AI in your environment, how it would be beneficial for you after we test your security, because without security, at the end of the day, you're just opening yourself to all kinds of stuff. So I hope you guys found it interesting, at least, to see what's out there. Thank you. Go ahead. Yeah, anybody have questions? I don't know if it'll work.
I do have a question. Copilot is the only platform available for AI, or is that the one you prefer?
No, there's a lot of different platforms from ChatGPT. It's actually the strongest one. Copilot actually uses ChatGPT. Copilot is just the front end. There's a lot of different ones, and there's AIs being trained for specific things. So once we meet with you, we'll decide which one is the best. I like, and I showed Copilot because I have access to M365. You may use more than one, you know, at the end of the day. Go ahead. Sorry, he's got a question. It's on. You just gotta.
So all of our costs are obviously driven by HR. So if I'm understanding this correctly, we could train the bot, basically AI agent to serve
Correct.
keywords and resumes and
Correct.
shorten that loss for us. Is that true?
That's true. Yes. Yes.
Question specific to guardrails.
Sure.
Copilot itself, the accuracy of Copilot within an Office 365 environment. Is it true I inquire within Copilot it will only stay within the tenant? And then I have a question about OpenAI and the guardrails within OpenAI, because I hear they're inherent to OpenAI.
Correct.
So,
All right, good questions. So the question is, if we use Copilot, can it be focused only on what we do? And yes, if you go to Copilot, there'll be a web and a work toggle on the top. And if you go to work, it's only going to look at the information you've given it just for work. And then OpenAI now has APIs that you could actually link it to Microsoft M365 and use it that way, to use ChatGPT as the engine of choice, if you will. Yeah.
Question 1, 2.
how easy is it for
evil people and people with bad intentions to pump information into the AI that's going to then deliver it back to people who are
So very good.
not as good at using it.
It's a it's a very it's a very good question. All right. So think of it this way. You have to set up your security properly so that your license goes along with your username on your domain. So in other words, you have only rights to see specific folders. You don't have rights to see HR. You have rights to maybe not all of engineering, but part of it. So AI has to mirror your user. So how easy it is, it depends on your security. But once a hacker has your username and password, hopefully you have security around that. But once they have the username and password and got access to it, what ends up happening is they can pretend to be you and ask AI to do the functions that you can do. AI won't do any extra because it thinks it's you, but that's the idea here, is to harden it, harden that domain as much as possible to limit that from being an issue. But it's the same thing if they came in and you don't have AI. They can still do the same thing you could do, but they just have to do it manually. Did that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? Everybody ready for agents? You guys gonna hire a whole bunch of automatic people to do all kinds of stuff? I know Rich loves that. It has an API.